Okay, good morning, my student. So today we are good morning grade grade three. Today we are going to continue our science lessons. Okay, for this week, and we have our lesson today is about wheel and axle. Okay, so we have studied last week, or the last session, the lesson about levers. Okay, and we have seen what what is the importance of lever, how we can use them, what are the uh, different examples of lever. If you remember seesaw and other examples of levers that we can use it to do some kind of work for us. Okay, so we have seen that lever is basically consisted of two parts. Okay, one of them is a bar. Okay, and in addition to the bar, we have um, in addition to the bar. Okay, we have in addition to the bar, we have fulcrum. Okay, and fulcrum is something beneath or below the lever. Okay, so you have the first the bar, which is lever, and in addition to the bar, we have the all of you closer cams, all of you closer cams. Okay, in addition to the bar, we have fulcrum, and fulcrum is something beneath the lever, which allows lever to move up or down, and we can use lever to carry heavy things. Okay, like for example, you have a very heavy load, and you want to carry this load. Okay, you are going to use what you are going to use lever. Today we are going to talk about another simple machine that we are using to do some kind of work for us. Okay, so wheel is another example that we are using every day to do some kind of work for us. Okay, so what we mean by wheel? Okay, wheel is example of simple machine. Okay, and wheel is consisted of two parts. Okay, first part, which is this part here, this is the wheel itself. The wheel is rotating, moving. Okay, moving in circle. Okay, you know circles. So if you know circles, you know how the wheel is moving. Okay, and in the center of the wheel we have what? We have axle. Okay, so the axle, the function of the axle is to allow the wheel to move. Okay, and the axle is inside the wheel. Okay, so what will happen when the axle is moving? The wheel itself will also start to move, and this will produce movement for the wheel itself. Okay, so why we are using wheel? Okay, so what is the function of wheel? Okay, suppose you want to move, yourself, you want to move from one place to another. Okay, and you don't want to use your leg. Okay, so you can use wheel to transfer you, to move you from one point to another. Okay, in addition, instead of just doing activities by yourself, doing some movement by yourself, you can use a wheel. Okay, we can use wheel also to carry heavy things. Suppose you have a very heavy load and you want to transfer this load from one point to another. So we are going to use a wheel that can transfer the thing from one place to another. Okay, so we have studied all the machines that we have studied up to this moment. Lever. Okay, and we have seen many different examples of levers. Okay, like seesaw, like many other examples of levers. Okay, we have seen how we can use them to enables us to do some kind of work. Sometimes you are not, you don't have, you can't do some kind of actions like that, and you want something to do work for you. Okay, so in this moment you can use you can use wheel or you can use lever. Okay, the function of wheel or lever is to give, is just to give you chance to do some kind of movement or action without being able to do this with your own body. Okay, because sometimes it's very hard to do this kind of action or movement with your body. Okay, so you need something that can help you to do this thing. Okay, and we have seen now what are the what are the parts of the wheel? We have first we have the wheel, and wheel is rotating, okay? And inside the wheel we have what? We have axle, and axle is something inside penetrating in the center of the wheel. So when the wheel is rotating, when the wheel is rotating, okay, the axle itself start to rotate, okay. What will happen when during this kind of movement? The body will change from one point to another. Means this wheel will move from this point, for example, to another point, to this point, okay. So it will move from this point to this to the other point, okay. And what kind of benefit of this movement we can use for? Okay, we can use this moment this movement of the wheel for transferring things, okay, moving things from one place to another, okay, and to move our bodies. Suppose you want to move for a very long distance, okay. Think about the wheel that you have in the car, okay, the wheel you can watch in the car, okay. This wheel has an axle and has a wheel itself, okay, and by the movement of the wheel and the axle you can move from one place to another, okay. And another application of this or another thing that can use wheel also and axle is sharpener, okay. Think about if you have a pencil and you want to just write with this pencil. You have to use what? You have to use sharpener. So sharpener has a wheel, okay, and it used the wheel in the same way, okay. So all of these examples are based on what? Wheel. You have wheel and you have axle, and axle at the center of the wheel. And when the axle is rotating, the wheel itself is rotating, and this will bring what? Will bring movement that can do some kind of work for us. Okay. Remember, the function of everything like this we are using is to do some kind of work for us. Okay. The idea is, or the benefit of this thing we are using is to do some kind of work. Sometimes you can't do this work by yourself, by your body, by your hand, by your leg. So you have to find something that can help you to move things, to change the place of something. Okay, so wheel and levers and all the things that we are going to study, inshallah, in the next sessions. Okay, the function of this kind of materials is to help us to do what? Help us to do some kind of movement. Okay, when we can't do this with our hands. Okay, remember our first lesson about the wheel. Okay, so now we are going to talk about what we mean by wheel. Okay, so wheel and axle is generally considered to be a wheel attached to the axle. Means the wheel and the axle itself are connected. Okay, there is a connection between them. Okay, means the wheel is connected to the axle. Okay, so that these two parts rotate together in which force is transferred. Means, okay, that when the wheel is rotating, okay, the axle itself rotate, okay, and this will produce what? Will produce movement, okay, and this movement is the kind of work that we are searching for. So we are searching for what? Work, okay. How we can create work from the wheel and axle? We can create work from the wheel and axle by the movement. So when the axle or wheel is moving, okay, this will produce kind of movement, okay, and the wheel and axle is a lever that rotates in the circle, okay? So it rotates in the circle. You can see this, like every wheel you can see or watch with your eyes is example of circle. It moves in a circle, okay? The larger the wheel means, like when you have a very large wheel, okay? You will have what? A small axle, okay? So this, like, because the axle itself in the middle of the wheel. So when the wheel is very big, means the axle itself is very small. Okay. So when the wheel is moving or rotating very big, okay, or very, very huge amount of rotation, okay, this will produce a small axle, okay? And okay, we are using the wheel and axle to what? To increase the force. As I told you, you want to do, you want to lift a heavy weight, okay? So what you are going to do, you are going to use your hand? No, it's very, very tough for you to do, to use your hand. So what you are going to do, you are going to use a weight, okay? You are going to use, sorry, wheel, okay? So wheel will help us to to move or to lift what? To lift a very, very heavy weight, okay? And in addition to that, we are going to do this, you are going to use this to increase the force. So the two important functions that we are using wheel for is to increase the force, okay? Remember, we are using this to increase the force, and in addition to that, to lift weights. Means when you have very, very heavy things, what you are going to do, we are going to use something that can change the position or the location of this kind of weight from one point to another. So you are going to change this from one point to another, okay? So this is a like the usage of, or the basic use of the, okay, to lift weights, okay, to increase the force exerted, okay? So bicycle is example for you because bicycle has two wheels, okay? One of them in the in the front side, and one of them is the back side, okay? And uh, doorknob, okay? Doorknob is doorknob is an example of the wheel, okay? In addition to that, I told you a very, very familiar example for you. We are using this every day is sharpener. Sharpener depends on the it has it's rotating like wheel, and it has axle inside it, okay? So those are examples of wheel, okay? And when you are going to study those examples, you can find what you can find. You can find wheel and you can find axle, okay? So those are the two common things among all of these things, okay? So you can find a wheel, okay, something that can rotate, okay, and you can find axle. Axle is something in the center of the wheel, okay? So those are the importance of the, or those are the two important things common in all examples of wheels, okay? So the common thing in all examples of wheel, what we have, we have, sorry, in bicycle, in everything, we have what? We have, first of all, we have the wheel and we have the axle, okay? When you have the wheel and axle, this will reduce what? Movement in circle, okay? And this movement of circle can do what? Can change the position or the location of something from one place to another, okay? Okay, do you have any questions about this? Do you have any questions? Muhammad Ross?
Why, Mr. Why the wheel need the axle?
No, Muhammad, the wheel is not making the axle. The axle is already existed in the wheel. Okay, so you have the wheel, okay, and inside the wheel, Muhammad, you have the axle itself. And when the wheel is rotating, the axle is rotating with the wheel. Okay, so the wheel is not making the axle, or the axle is not making the wheel. They have connected together, okay, to reduce the movement. Okay, so the axle can't move without the wheel, and the wheel can't move without the axle. Okay. Basil,
Yes.
do you have any questions?
Yes, I don't understand what means wheel axle.
Wheel is something that like rotate. Okay, do you know circle, Rasil?
Yes.
Anything that can rotate in circle, I can consider this as a wheel. Okay, you
Okay.
understand? And anything like axle is something in the middle, in the center of the wheel. Okay, so you have something in the center of the wheel. Okay, this we call this axle. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank.
you. No. Yes, sir. Hassan, do
Yes.
you have any questions, Hassan?
Yes. I don't know. Understand what are the uses of wheel and axle?
Okay, Hassan. Okay, so we have said many examples of wheel, okay, and axle, and how can we use them? We are going to mention them again, okay? So the first example of the wheel is, or use of the wheel is bicycle. Bicycle is depend on the wheel, okay? So you have inside the bicycle, you have two wheels rotating, and the rotation of these two wheels reduce movement. Okay, so without the wheel, the bicycle can't move, can't walk. Okay, so you must have, okay, wheels inside the bicycle. Okay, think about the doorknob. Okay, here you have the, here this is, here you have wheel. Okay, here you have the axle. Okay, and the axle and wheel allows the doorknob to work. Okay, so you can just open it or close it, okay, when you want. Okay, so this is also example of the the wheel, sorry, the wheel. Okay, so you have a steering wheel here. Okay, think about this example here, Hassan. You have what you have here, this is a wheel. Okay, and as you can see here, in this example, the wheel is rotating. Okay, and in the middle of this wheel we have what, we have this part. Okay, this part here is what is axle, sorry. So the axle is rotating with the wheel. So the rotation of the wheel and axle with each other produce what, produce a movement for the steering wheel itself. Okay, so this is the production of the wheel, or the movement of the wheel itself. Okay, so those are two examples. Okay, and Hassan, as I told you, we have very familiar example when you are using your sharpener. This is also example of wheel. Okay, because we have what, you are rotating the pencil inside the sharpener, and this produce what, produce movement. Okay, and in the middle of the sharpener you have what, you have axle, and the axle is rotating with the wheel. Okay, so this kind of rotation, okay, reduce, okay, by the wheel. Okay, without the wheel you can't produce this kind of rotation or movement. Okay, so this again examples, Hassan, as you asked about examples about rotation, or sorry, about the wheels. Yes, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay, what's your question?
I don't understand anything.
Anything? I will explain this again for the list, for the last time. Okay, before I show you a video that will explain this lesson for you. Okay, so as I told you, we have what, as I told you, we are using wheel and axle to create some kind of work or force, okay? Because we can't do this work or force by our body, so we are using the wheel to produce movement or to produce what? To produce force, okay? Or to lift a weight, okay? So how can we use the wheel and axle? We can use the wheel and axle by allowing the wheel and axle to rotate. And when the wheel and axle is rotating, this will produce movement. And this movement will be, this kind of movement will just do some kind of work, will produce work. So the function of this wheel is to produce what? Work. How this wheel can produce work? By movement. So when the bicycle is moving, or when the car is moving, it produces work, okay? And this work, we can use this work to do some kind of move something, move our body from one place to another, move or lift heavy weight from one place to another. So this kind of work, this machine can do for us, the wheel, to just do some kind of work for us. Okay, so the idea or the function of this wheel is to do some kind of work for us. Okay, and how can we use this? We can use this wheel, okay, by allowing the wheel itself to rotate, okay, move. And when the wheel is rotating, what else also will rotate? The axle, because the axle and the wheel is connected to each other, okay? And when they are rotating in this way, okay, this will produce what? Okay, this will produce movement, okay? So you can see here, the axle and the wheel is connected, okay? When the wheel is moving, the wheel axle will move in the same way, okay? So this is the kind of movement that we are talking about. You have the axle, you have the wheel, and both of them are rotating in the same way, okay? Both of them are rotating in the same way. And the kind of, like, you can see here, this is like the small part here, the small, this is, for example, this is car, okay? This is car here, okay? And car has many wheels, okay? Here, this is the car, and car has many wheels. So car is moving by using what? By using the wheels, okay? So can you imagine like cars that don't have any wheels? Right? Can this car can move? No, it can't, because it has to have, okay, a wheel, and without the wheel, it will not move from one place to another. So the wheel can transfer, can change the position or the location of the wheel of the car or any or the bicycle or anything from one point to another, from one place to another. Okay, and you can use car or any or bicycle to move our bodies, to move things that we can't hold with our hands or our. So we are using this to do some kind of work for us. Okay, examples of wheel, okay, is uh, bicycles, um, sharpeners, okay, um, wheel steering, okay. Those are common examples of wheel. Okay, so we are using those kind of wheels in the same way. We have, as I told you, wheel and axle, and they are rotating around each other. Okay, they are rotating around each other in circle. Remember, every time you think about the wheel, remember the circle. Circle is something that has no beginning and no end, and the wheel is the same idea. Okay, so the wheel will just start to move in circle. Okay, and this movement in the circle will produce, okay, some kind of work, and we are going to use this work to move things from one place to another, or to change the position or location of anything. Okay, so this is the idea of wheel. Okay, I hope you have understood this, and if you have any questions, okay, I'm ready. Abdulaziz, Abdulaziz, hello, you have any questions, Abdulaziz? Yasser,
What?
do you have any questions, Yasser?
No.
Okay. If you don't have any questions, just lower your hand, okay? Okay, I'm going to show you now a video, okay, that will explain the idea of wheels, okay? I hope you will understand more from this video, okay?
We've been out looking for rocks to add to our rock collection. And as you can see, Squeaks and I have found a ton of awesome rocks. We've just been putting them in a box and we're ready to take them back to the fort so we can learn more about them. But it looks like we might have collected a few too many. This box is really heavy, too heavy to carry. So I wonder if we can pull the box back to the fort. Squeaks, want to give it a try? Rats! Oh, sorry, Squeaks. I mean, oh man, that was a really good try, but we're gonna have to think of something else. If you've spent some time with us recently, you probably know that we can use simple machines to help us do work. In the past, we've used levers, ramps, and pulleys to help us move big, heavy things, but none of those are quite the right machine for this problem. However, there's another simple machine that I think will do the trick. This simple machine is called a wheel and an axle. You already know what a wheel is, and an axle is the bar that goes into the middle of a wheel. In order for a wheel to work, it has to spin, and a wheel spins on an axle. I bet you can think of lots of things that use wheels and axles, like cars and trucks, bicycles, roller skates, roller blades, and our wagon. Of course, we can put the box in our wagon and then pull it back to the fort. Great idea as usual. Hey, Squeaks, our wagon has 2 axles and 2 wheels on each axle. So we'll just put the box inside the wagon. Okay, Squeaks, pull on the handle. And the box is on the move. We solved the problem. But how do wheels and axles help us to do work? It all comes down to how much force we need to move the box. We've talked about forces before. They're the pushes and pulls that things put on each other. In this case, the force we're concerned with is the one we use to pull on the box. When the box was on the ground, Squeaks tried to put a big force on the box to pull it. But even though he pulled really hard, he could only move it a little bit. But when the box was in the wagon, Squeaks was able to pull it all by himself easily. So it took less force to move the box. And that's what this simple machine does. A wheel and axle changes how much force we need to move something. Instead of a big push or pull, we can use a much smaller one. And smaller pushes and pulls means less work for us. Because it takes less force to move heavy things, wheels and axles make it easier to move something a long way. That's why they're part of so many things that help us stay on the go. And that's why you'll see wheels and axles on buses, scooters, wheelchairs, and even robot rats. But Squeaks is one robot rat that's earned a break. Hop in, Squeaks. I'll give you a ride back to the fort. Thanks for joining us. If you have questions about machines or forces or anything at all, just grab a grown-up and let us know in the comments below. Or